The sunlight was almost too gentle to wake her. Amber stirred beneath the soft cotton sheets, her limbs feeling like they were underwater. Her head throbbed with a dull ache, her mouth dry as if she'd swallowed a handful of dust. She squinted against the unfamiliar light, the hazy blur of the room sharpening slowly into focus. It wasn't her bedroom. That realization struck her with a wave of confusion. She pushed herself up, a groan slipping past her lips as the motion made her stomach turn. She blinked, trying to register the room. Soft cream-colored walls. A medium-sized window framed with sheer white curtains. A bookshelf in the corner. A framed photo on the dresser. Everything was clean, lived in, quiet, and definitely not hers. Amber glanced down. She was wearing a long gray t-shirt that reached her thighs. The kind of shirt someone might wear after a long day. The kind of shirt that definitely didn't belong to her. Her dress, the short, black, sleeveless one she had worn to the party, was neatly folded and placed over the armchair near the window. Her heels sat carefully beneath it. Her purse was beside the bed. Panic settled in her chest like a weight. Where was she? What happened after the party? She closed her eyes, trying to rewind her memory. Sarah had invited her. Just a small get-together, she had said. But it turned into something bigger, loud music, flashing lights, endless drinks. Amber had barely eaten that day, and she remembered the alcohol hitting her faster than usual. Tequila shots. A game of truth or dare. Someone spinning her around on the balcony. Her laughter ringing too loud, too wild. Then, stepping outside for fresh air. Her phone dying in her hand. Knocking on Sarah's door again and again. No one answering. And after that, blankness. The door opened, quietly. Amber tensed. A man stepped in. He was tall, broad-shouldered, maybe early 30s. Wavy dark hair, a short beard, and soft brown eyes that immediately met hers. He was carrying a tray, breakfast. Orange juice, a glass of water, toast, a croissant, even a little bowl of cut-up fruit. He stopped in the doorway, clearly sensing her panic. "Hey," he said, voice calm, deep, careful. "You're okay. You're safe." She said nothing, still frozen. "You're at my place. I'm Luke," he added, slowly walking over to place the tray on the bedside table. "I live next door to Sarah. You were at her party last night." Amber's lips parted slightly. Her voice was hoarse. "How did I? I found you outside, sitting on the front step," Luke said, settling into the chair across the room, keeping his distance. "It was around midnight. You were knocking on the door, but no one came. You looked cold, confused. Then you just passed out." She winced. "You didn't have your phone, just your clutch. I didn't know where else to take you, and I couldn't leave you out there. My daughter's away with her grandma this weekend, so I brought you here. Let you sleep it off." Amber was quiet for a long moment. Her heart was racing, not just from confusion or the awkwardness of waking up in a stranger's house, but because he didn't seem like a stranger. Not in the dangerous, unpredictable way. There was something steady about him. He looked like the kind of man who fixed things. Who showed up? Who didn't yell? Still, she had to ask. "Did anything happen?" Luke shook his head instantly. "No, nothing. I helped you out of your dress because you threw up a little on it. Sorry, I didn't want you to sleep in that. I gave you a clean shirt, put a bucket by the bed just in case, and let you rest." She looked down again. The oversized shirt smelled like clean laundry and something faintly masculine. Something like pine and old books. "I slept here?" she asked. He nodded. "Guest room. Door stayed open all night. I slept on the couch, just in case you woke up and needed anything." Amber's face flushed with shame. "I'm so sorry. I must have been a mess." Luke shrugged gently. "We've all had bad nights." There was no mockery in his voice. No condescension. He was just kind. "My ex-wife used to disappear sometimes," he added, more to the floor than to her. "Drinking. Running from things. I'd sit up all night wondering if she was okay. I guess when I saw you out there, I couldn't just ignore it." Amber's heart twisted at the honesty in his voice. He wasn't telling her this for pity. It wasn't about making her feel bad or indebted. It was simply the truth. A piece of his story, offered gently. "Thank you," she said quietly, her voice catching. "You didn't have to do all this." "I know," Luke replied, standing. "But I wanted to." He turned to leave, then paused. "Eat something. And drink water. You'll feel better. I'll be in the kitchen if you want to talk, or need a ride back to Sarah's." As the door clicked shut, Amber stared at the tray for a long time. Toast, perfectly browned, fresh juice, a bowl of strawberries and sliced apples. The simplest meal, but it meant everything in that moment. It meant she was safe. It meant someone had cared. She picked up the glass of water, taking a slow sip. Her hands were still slightly trembling. The silence of the room pressed around her, but it wasn't heavy, it was peaceful. Grounded, she let her body fall back against the pillows, eyes blinking at the ceiling. In her life, care usually came with conditions. The men she dated expected something in return: flirtation, attention, favors. Even her friends often seemed to take more than they gave. But here was a man who had carried her home, cleaned up her mess, given her warmth, safety, and food, and hadn't asked for anything. It unsettled her in a strange, beautiful way. She finished half the juice, her appetite slowly returning. The croissant flaked softly in her mouth. Her headache began to lift, the fog around her thoughts slowly clearing. She thought about the way he had looked at her, not with pity, but with concern. As if he knew what it felt like to be broken and not judged for it. Maybe it was the vulnerability. Or maybe it was something more. For the first time in a very long while, Amber felt seen. 2 hours later, she walked into the kitchen, wearing her dress again, her hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. Luke was standing at the sink, washing a dish with one hand, the other holding a coffee mug. He looked up and smiled, that same quiet warmth in his eyes. Feeling better? Amber nodded. Yeah, still a little embarrassed. You don't have to be. I think I owe you more than just a thank you. Luke dried his hands. You don't owe me anything. That silence returned, but it was different now. Comfortable. She glanced around the kitchen. It wasn't a bachelor's space. There were crayon drawings stuck to the fridge. A pink lunchbox sat on the counter. A half-read storybook lay open near the sink. You said you have a daughter? She asked. He smiled. Yeah, Maddie. She's 6. Smart, stubborn, way too observant. Amber chuckled softly. Sounds like someone I would have been friends with at 6. He leaned against the counter. She would like you. Something in her chest shifted again. She hadn't come here looking for anything. Last night had been a mess, a storm of recklessness. But this morning, it felt like she had stepped into another kind of life entirely. One where people were good. Where kindness didn't come with strings. Where healing could start with a glass of orange juice and someone who simply didn't walk away. I'd like to see her, Amber said suddenly. Surprising even herself. If that's okay. One day. Luke's eyes met hers again. He didn't smile right away. But when he did, it was slow, genuine, and real. I'd like that too.